Hey guys, CBI Prinsu here, and we're here with the brand new Prinsu Pro Rack for the two-door Ford Bronco. Today we're going to be showing you guys how to assemble and mount this thing yourself. But also don't forget to follow all the online instructions and PDFs that we have available for you, because that's going to show the most current and up-to-date information. Let's get to it. Alrighty guys, so for the next step here, this is where we're actually going to start assembling the roof rack. And to start, we're going to start by assembling the side rails to our crossbars. And so what we're going to do is we're going to essentially start putting the crossbars together, and we're going to line up all of our hardware in a way that we can just easily insert them and screw them into the crossbars. But you'll want to triple check before you get started that you're always putting a little bit of Vibratite, or you're putting some Loctite in all your screws so that nothing wiggles loose. So as you can see, we've already got most of the roof rack put together. The crossbars to the side rails are put on by hand. So now what we're going to do is we're going to tighten everything down, and then we're going to move on to the next step of mounting our mounting feet to the rack itself. Alrighty guys, so now that we've got that first mounting foot all set on, we're going to talk about the second and third mounting feet and these special pads that we're going to have to apply to the bottom. In your kit, in the box, are going to come these two separate sizes of these pads. So what we're going to do is we're going to install and stick these pads to the bottom of these feet so that they rest on your vehicle and that they don't mar anything. The important thing you're going to want to remember is that you're going to want to at least treat the surface with some rubbing alcohol beforehand so that there's good adherence to it. And from here, we're going to proceed by just fastening the mounting foot to the inside of the roof rack here using these corresponding slots. Okay, and a special note here guys, you're going to want to make sure that these mounting feet are put on loosely. That way when you actually set it on the vehicle, they can adjust on their own and kind of seat where they need to sit naturally. Alrighty guys, so we're going to show you now how that rear mounting foot actually indexes and hooks onto the roof of your vehicle for the rack to hook onto. So you're going to take your two separate pieces here, you're going to take your claw piece and you're going to take your base hook piece. You're going to notice here that your claw piece has a stud that's already going to be pressed into the material. You're going to put them together like this, make sure that the tops are flush with each other, and then included in your kit you're going to have a washer and a 1/4-20 nylock nut. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to place that over that stud and start torquing that down. This nut is going to be a 7/16 wrench, so if you have one of those handy, you can kind of start torquing that down. But do it loosely, it doesn't have to be on tight just yet until we get the rest of the roof rack on there. So. And then from there, once you've got it torqued on there just a little bit, then you can take this and you can hook it in to this little portion here and just set it on your roof temporarily until we get the rest of the roof rack on here to mount to this foot. One little important thing that we have to know before we actually slap the roof rack on the vehicle is these nice little these little cover plates here. You're going to want to pop those off before you actually set the rack on, because underneath exposes where we're going to mount those front mounting feet to. So you're going to want to gain access to some sort of a plastic pry tool or something like that. And then up at the top of these mounting caps is going to be an opening with a button that all you're going to have to do is push down with your prying tool and it'll pop right off. And then once you have that top cap off, there's going to be this little polymer bracket that's underneath that you're going to want to pop off too, so that that mounting foot can sit down on the surface flush. You're going to need a 10mm wrench for these two nuts right here, so just go ahead and pop those off. Alrighty guys, now that we have all the prep work done on the vehicle and all of our mounting feet installed, now it's actually time to set the roof rack on the vehicle itself. Always make sure you have a little team with you, that way you don't accidentally damage the vehicle. So. Now that we have the roof rack sitting on the vehicle, now what we're going to do is we're going to start reinstalling the hardware and actually mount the roof rack down to the roof. So once this front mounting foot is located onto these factory studs, you can use the factory 10mm nuts and just start screwing them back on there. And then once these are tightened down, then you can come to your second and your third mounting foot, and you're going to want to make sure all of your hardware is installed and torques down to make sure the roof rack sits on there tight. So now that we've got all the hardware all fastened back down on this rear mounting foot, you're gonna wanna make sure that you go back behind to that 1/4 20 nut on the back. You're gonna wanna make sure that's torqued down. Okay guys, so right here we're gonna take a quick pit stop and we're gonna talk about remounting your factory caps over your feet. Typically this is a step we do with most installs, but the customer actually didn't want us to modify these because you do have to modify them. So essentially the steps you would have to go through in order to modify this and remount this is you're gonna be using this little bracket mounting foot here, and we're gonna have some number 10 hardware here, some carriage bolts and some nuts. How you would typically do this is you would take your mounting foot and you would mount it over this corresponding hole using this square slot here, and you would run your carriage bolt through it to the back and have that sustain to whatever level you need it. And then from there, after you're done modifying your cap by cutting it and drilling through it, you can use this lower slot here after it's mounted up to then correspond with the hole that you're gonna drill. So for this next step of this install, we're gonna be showing you guys how to assemble the wind deflector and how we're gonna mount it to the rest of the roof rack. For this, we're just gonna check and make sure that we have a few things. We're gonna need our simple 1/2 inch 1/4 20 machine screws here. They do have a 5/32 drive, so make sure you do have those tools available. And we're gonna have the corresponding T-nuts that are gonna slide into the crossbar itself, and that's how this plate is gonna mount to the face. Don't forget also we're gonna have our nice noise reducing trim that we're gonna mount to the bottom of that leading plate. Now let's button this thing up and let's secure the wind deflector onto the front end of the roof rack. So you're probably gonna wanna have another person there just to make sure it doesn't fall and damage the vehicle. But same thing as all the rest of the other crossbars, you're gonna be using this same 1/4 20 hardware. And you're just gonna fasten it through the side of the side rail. Alrighty guys, that's it. That is how you assemble the brand new Prinsu Pro Rack for the 2-door Ford Bronco. As always guys, we hope this video was easy enough for you to follow. If you have any questions or concerns, make sure you reach out to our customer service phone numbers and emails and/or comment on this video below. We'll see you guys out on the trails.